Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3937. Today's date is March 12, 2027, 26. Sorry, 26. Today's date is 26. It's been almost like afternoon, not afternoon. Why am I fumble at the moment? I don't know why, but I'm kind of like a bit fumble. Okay. It's been almost like a evening at 6:50 p.m. Usually at this moment I do workout. I do kind of like a simply run and things like that. But I thought that let's skip it today. Not skip it. It's just like that na ki. Okay, yeah, let's just being honest. Okay, yeah. I masturbate. Sometimes I just kind of like feel like so fuck and things and that. Like I'm really regret to say this thing that I masturbate, but it kind of like became my habit. I wanted to quit. I am quitting it, but instead of quitting, I try to minimize it. Okay. So yeah. The irony of this artifact, na, okay, yeah, is that I just masturbate, okay, and I feel like ashamed, but that is not ashamed part, okay, yeah. The shame part is in the artifact, okay, that the question I will gonna ask, which is also about the habit, and I'm kind of like giving the lecture about how should you supposed to be kind of like maintain a good habit, and in reality I am kind of like a really fuck. So basically it's this thing that my action are completely opposite about the word that I'm kind of like saying. So right, so it just feels wrong in so many ways. But I thought that na ki it's like that ki okay, I don't know how to supposed to explain. Okay, let me clarify everything that I will gonna kind of like talk about all the stuff and things and that. Okay, first of all is that let's talk about masturbation. Okay, I did this masturbate means I did masturbate today after 5 days of gap. Okay, yeah, I make sure that I will have 5 days of gap. Okay, and why I kind of like say why 5 days of gap, because it's very much essential to have this particular gap. Okay, yeah, because when you have this particular gap, then you are kind of like a bit more control and things. Maybe most of the people are quitting their masturbation. I am not. Okay, yeah, like I try multiple time, I can't quit. Okay, yeah, and I watch lot of kind of like a something YouTube videos and things and that regarding about stuff. Masturbation I didn't really consider as a disease or a kind of like a thing that I should supposed to be eliminate that. No, it's a part of the process. It's a part of human body and things. It's just my opinion, by the way. Okay, I'm not really kind of like giving you any kind of like a something that key opinion or things. It's just my opinion. Take it or don't, or maybe just don't. Okay, I just don't. It just okay. So basically this thing na I make sure that I have 5 days of kind of like a gap. Okay, and today I done my 5 days of gap and I got my urges and I feel like that okay, let's release. So I did that thing. Am I ashamed? Well, I am not really ashamed of that. Like basically is this thing that today I will gonna masturbate, but I decided that after I do workout, then I masturbate. Means during the night. Means during the night when you masturbate, you will have kind of like a room for you will kind of like get very good sleep, as well as kind of like you will kind of like feel more relaxed and things like that. But urges are very strong, so I cannot able to control, and in the afternoon I masturbate. Am I shameful? Yeah, because of that I cannot able to be work out and things and that. Okay, yeah. Now this is the part 1. Okay, yeah. Now let's talk about part 2. Now what is actually part 2? Part 2 is that I am kind of like here at the rooftop, and I will gonna ask question. Okay, and what kind of like a question that I will gonna ask? Okay, let me tell you the question. Okay, the question is, wait, what is smallest version of habit that I can realistically commit during every day? Okay, so this is a part 2. Okay, yeah, and I will gonna merge part 1 and part 2. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna give you everything. You understand the part 1. Now let's understand part 2. This is the part 2 of the artifact. I will gonna ask question. Okay, so what exactly is this question, and why am I asking this question to myself? Okay, so a couple of days ago I read a book, Atomic Habit by James Clear. Really amazing book. Highly recommend to you read that book. I wanted to implement the value that book taught me. So how do I do that? By asking question honestly to myself and giving the honest answer. Okay, so I went to ChatGPT, kind of like say suggest me at least like a 20 questions so that I was supposed to be implement the value. ChatGPT kind of like recommend me those 20 questions. This is one of those questions. Now, regarding about this question, the question says that what is what is the smallest version of the habit that can realistically commit during the day. Now, smallest version means what? A smallest version means lot a kind of like okay, let me tell you one thing. When you try to achieve any kind of like a good habit, it's very much difficult to do it at the beginning. First of all, in my point of perspective, what kind of like a good habit that I have? Well, basically is this thing I can able to be run 30-minute non-stop. From last 4 year I am running. Today I never really went to run, but still I can run. Okay, yeah. And basically one day skip is not meant to be kind of like somebody telling me that I am not, but yeah, I'm kind of like running for 4 year every day I run, and 30 minutes every day. This is a good habit. I'm recording artifact self-reflection process. I am doing this thing for last 11 year every single day. Okay, then basically this thing reading a book. I'm reading a book for last 2 months. Okay, I am playing a kind of like a brain training games. Okay, yeah, which is also a month. Content creation, I am doing this thing for last 5 year every single day. So those are kind of like a habits that I develop. Okay, those are kind of like really good habits. Okay, now every habit that I develop, it is also very difficult to do it at the beginning. Very difficult. Okay, yeah. So at the beginning I try a kind of like a different approach to execute my good habit. Let's talk about artifact. Artifact is a very difficult to do it at the beginning. I can't. Okay, like basically I decided that I should supposed to be consistent and record my artifact every single day, but the problem is that it's very awkward, it's very awkward to talk to yourself at the beginning. Yes, if you try to do this thing, it is very much awkward, but instead of kind of like me focusing on too long artifact, I just record maybe 2-3 minutes. Just record the video and kind of like a say this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, that's it. Okay, yeah. But first awkwardness is too much, so that's why I kind of like make sure that be exist, like just press the record button and just tell about what is actually happened within a 2 minute or 3 minute. And that's what exactly I did. I just kind of like somebody just talk about this happened, this happened, this happened, that's it. Okay, So I did it. Okay, yeah. For the consistency, okay, yeah. Like basically, if I wanted to consistent in my artifact, okay, yeah, it took me almost like a 6 months to be consistent. And after the 6 months, I will be consistent. I'm kind of like a gaining little bit of confidence to talk to myself, and I'm kind of like a recording artifact since then. Okay, does it add value? Yes, yeah. It's been almost like a 11 year. I'm kind of like a recording this thing, and because of this thing, I am way that I'm talking to you right now in English. I am very much proud because I was not a person who could able to be speak in English. I am from such a surrounding background where English is not supposed to be exist, or there is no one at all. But still I just talk in English, and that's why I could able to be English that well in artifact in very much fluently is because of this artifact. Not just English, but there are so many kind of like assembly value that self-reflection process kind of like provide me. I understand myself regarding about what I want to achieve. I understand myself regarding about my goal, my ambition, what I want to achieve in my real life, and things and that and that and that. These are all things are actually possible by artifact. I cannot able to be imagine my life would be without artifact. If I didn't restart my artifact, my life would be a kind of like a particular person who is a kind of like a doing a job, and that's it. Probably I would kind of like a die and things like that. Probably, yeah, literally just like that. Now, if I try to imagine myself, my life without artifact, it's just not. I drop all my ambition, all my goal, all my dream, everything. I would be kind of like a working on some sort of kind of like a some company or things. I would be earning almost like a 20 to 25,000 rupees, and I would kind of like a simply like a living very worse life. By the way, in today's reality, it is not really that kind of like a really good. Like basically is this thing na ki if I'm gonna say today's in my today reality, I'm not really earning any kind of like a some money. Okay, yeah. But today I have hope, ambition, goal, a possibility that I could able to be achieve my goals and things like that, and that possibility is very much higher. Okay, yeah. But at that version of my life, like if I'm not recording my artifact, the possibility of achieving my goal is almost negligible. Nothing really at all. So basically is this thing, I know that in the future I will gonna achieve a lot of things. You might be a reason that's why you are kind of like a listening this artifact. Why are you kind of like a listening this shit, by the way? Right? You are kind of like a listening this thing is because of that, yeah, I achieved something. That's why you're kind of like listening this thing. Right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, yeah. That key, this I just like this artifact is kind of like a change my life. If you are that kind of like a particular person who's just listening it, just record artifact. Talk to yourself. It just adds so much amount of value and things and that and that. By the way, back to the question. The question says that ki how much kind of like a realistic kind of like a how much kind of like a smallest and realistic approach that I did to achieve my habits. To start small. I just start small and be consistent. Just press record, talk about what exactly happened, record just 2-3 minutes. That's it. Okay, by the way, if you are kind of like looking at those artifacts on my YouTube channel, you will not gonna find it. Why? Because of that, I didn't really upload those artifacts on YouTube platform. Why? Because of that, it's kind of like a very difficult to me to upload those things. Why? Okay, let me tell you one thing. Recording artifact 2 minutes is kind of like a far more easier, but uploading those 2 minutes artifact on YouTube platform, it is too much. Because let me tell you one thing, those 2-minute artifact are in almost like a 500 in number. Literally 500 in number. So imagine I am actually uploading each artifact 500 times. Like a 500 times, 500 files are actually kind of like a putting on the Premiere and things and that. And then I kind of like assembly upload. Like basically this thing, when I try to upload my artifact, I decided that I shouldn't supposed to upload less than 5 minutes. So you might not gonna see any kind of like artifact which is less than 5 minutes. Probably you might get maybe 1 or 2, but not more than that. Okay, yeah. I have almost like in my computer, I have almost like a 500 kind of like a files which are kind of like a less than that. And and that's in that particular recording, I'm just kind of like a say that this happened, this happened, this happened, and that's it. I just ended. Okay, yeah. So that's why you might not gonna see those artifacts on the YouTube platform, but those are actually exist in my hard disk. Okay, yeah. You will kind of like simply see me, then I will kind of like provide you that artifact, but it doesn't really add any kind of like simply just nothing really at all. I just kind of like said date, this, that happened, and end it. Okay, yeah. But this is what kind of like a very much essential that I just try to be exist. So I just kind of like record the artifact and like this happened, that. This will kind of like giving me little bit of confidence of boost that I should supposed to be record my artifact. Okay, yeah. And it kind of like simply helped me to record artifact episode more and more. Okay, it took me almost like 6 months to be consistent. Okay, yeah. Habit number 2, running. Okay, I already mentioned multiple times regarding about running, but still again I mention the question is actually about that what is actually the smallest version of the habit that I could realistically commit. So regarding about running, the same situation, I started running at early 2020, probably is this thing after COVID. Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing January somewhat something, I don't know, but 2021, yeah, 2020 last year, 2020 or 2021. Okay, yeah. I went to stadium. Okay, yeah. And I went to stadium, and the stadium is a kind of like a full of energy. Okay, by the way, in my local town, there is a kind of like a local stadium where all the people would kind of like a came, they would exercise over there and things and that and that. It's a government stadium. Okay, yeah. And the energy was really high. Okay, yeah. And it was kind of like really good. And basically after the COVID, it actually opened. So a lot of people are actually going there. Okay, yeah. With the mask. Yeah, with the mask. So I thought that yeah, let's do. So I started a kind of like a simply running. By the way, before that, I was kind of like doing a cycling. Okay, because in the COVID, everything was closed. So I wanted to work out. So obviously gym was closed, everything was closed. So I have my cycle. Okay, yeah. It's not my cycle, it's one of my friend's cycle. I kind of like somebody brought him. Okay, like basically that cycle was kind of like somebody just my friend says that he use it. Okay, yeah, like no one is actually using it, so I'm using that bicycle for bicycling. And I was kind of like a bicycling, like I was kind of like a doing cycle for almost like a 30 kilometer every single day. Yeah, 30 kilometer every evening. I took my bicycle and kind of like simply just do my cycle for almost like a 30 kilometer, 15. Okay, yeah. I like a Paunar is a kind of like a place which is actually 15 kilometer away from the city. My city is Wardha, which has been 15 kilometer. So 15 kilometer up and down. So that means 30 kilometer. Oh yeah. So I was kind of like doing a cycling for 30 kilometer, and then after that I went to stadium, and energy was really high, and I thought that everyone's kind of like a running and things and that. I thought that I am kind of like simply doing bicycle for 30 kilometer every single day. So probably I should supposed to be run. It's not really that difficult. Okay, yeah. So I started running. I set a goal that I should supposed to be run at least like a 20 minute. Okay, yeah, non-stop. So I started running. I just can't run. Literally, what the fuck is actually happening? Like I can able to be cycle for 30 kilometer and I cannot able to be run 30 minutes. I was like, what exactly is this thing? Like I was kind of like a breathing very heavily and things and that. It is very difficult. And after that, I was so exhausted that I could not able to be stand on my leg because it's so much painful. 20-minute run, it's kind of like a very much painful. I thought that like I have to be kind of like a different approach. Instead of running 20 minutes, I should suppose start running for 5 minutes. Okay, yeah. So I started running 5 minutes. And basically, I am not really running as a sprint. I'm running as a jog. As a kind of like, let's just jog for 5 minutes. It is kind of like a very much appreciable. Okay, yeah. Like appreciable means like it's easily possible. Okay, yeah. So that's it. And then after that, my friend was there, so we are actually playing badminton. Okay, yeah. It's a very fun activity. It doesn't really feel like that workout and things like that. But I already have achieved a goal. I already want to run 30 minutes, and this is the kind of this time that I wanted to achieve, 30-minute non-stop run. But I cannot able to do that. So every day, so basically, how do I run? So I have headphone. Okay, yeah, I put the headphone, and I put my mobile phone on my pant. Okay, on kind of like a pocket. Okay, yeah, and I set the alarm. Okay, set the alarm for 5 minutes, and then I started running. Okay, yeah. Then I extend my alarm. Set the alarm for 6 minutes. Set the alarm for 7 minutes. Set the alarm for 10 minutes. Like 1 minute, I kind of like add every single day. But sometime now when I do this thing, it's a bit more kind of like very difficult to do it. But I still continue. Okay, like basically at the 8 minute, I decided that I might not be able to be run like a 10 minute. So I just kind of like a pause. Pause means what? Like a basically just record. Sorry, just run 8 minutes today, tomorrow 8 minutes, day after tomorrow 8 minutes, and day after tomorrow just extend 1 minute, 9 minutes. If I'm achieve 9 minute run, then it would be really good. I can able to be achieve 9 minute run. Okay, yeah, then set 1 minute ahead, 10 minute run. So basically is this thing, I just extend 1 minute every single day. I set the alarm 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, yeah. This is slowly I kind of like simply improve my running stamina. Okay, it's not happened like, let me tell you one thing, it kind of like took me almost like a 3 to 4 months to achieve 30 minutes. Okay, yeah. And it's not really that after I achieved 30 minutes, I was not really accomplished. Why? Because 30 minutes was kind of like a very too much for me. And after I run 30 minutes, my legs are like a snoring, it's very much pain and things and that. It's just like this bearable, this pain is cannot able to be bear. Like literally. So I kind of like a drop to 25 minutes. Then it's kind of like a bit more comfortable, but I still wanted to achieve that 30 minutes. Okay, so I just extend 25 to 26, 27, 20. It took me 6 months to achieve 30-minute run. Okay, and after I achieve 30-minute run, then I am bit more comfortable. Okay, comfortable means what? I can able to be run 30 minutes non-stop, and after I run, my pain, I'm not getting any kind of like a snore, like I'm not getting any kind of like a pain. After that, I could able to play badminton with my friend too. So it is pretty much achievable, and I achieve that thing by kind of like doing tiny steps. Okay, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Yeah, it's been almost like a 4 year I'm running, 4-5 year I'm running. And right now it is pretty much like basically when I run, my body is in autopilot. My body went to autopilot mode, and everything kind of like feel just normal, nothing really at all. So this is what it is. I kind of like somebody start small and things and that. Okay, then also there is another habit that I wanted to talk about. Okay, I like basically this thing I already mentioned in Artifact, but still I again mention. Okay, this October 2025, I bought the subscription of 4 brain training application. Okay, Brilliant, Lumosity, Duolingo, and Elevate. These are kind of like a brain training application which is actually available in Play Store, iOS App Store. If you wanted to download this application. Okay, really good. Okay, let me tell you my story. What exactly happened? So I was very much influenced by this brain training application, and I thought that I wanted to brain train. Okay, like basically I wanted to like I wanted to kind of like spend more time on this brain training application and things and that, which is really good. Okay, now I kind of like spend subscription. Like I bought the subscription for this application, which cost me like a Brilliant cost me 5,000 rupees. Elevate cost me 1,500 rupees. Duolingo cost me 1,100 rupees. Lumosity cost me 500 rupees. like basically all those 4 application cost me almost like a 7 to 8 thousand rupees. Okay, 7 to 8 thousand rupees I spend on that application for year. For year, yeah. So basically I spend that much amount of money, and because of like basically when you spend that much amount of money, you are like your mind, your kind of like a works on that ki no, like I spent that much amount of money, so utilize everything. So I started utilizing it. Okay, yeah. So I started utilizing, I spent so much amount of time on this application. Okay, yeah, like a brilliant application. I spend almost like a 1 hour every single day. Lumosity, I'm spending almost like a 1 hour. Elevate half-hour. Duolingo half-hour. It's been almost like I'm spending almost like a 3 hour on brain training application, which is good, okay, but it's not good enough for consistent. Let me tell you one thing, na. When you increase your intensity, then it's kind of like a inverse as a consistency. Like intensity and consistency are inverse proportion. Okay, yeah. If you increase the intensity, you decrease the consistency. Okay, yeah. So if you want it to be consistent, or if you want it to be kind of like a whatever the things that you wanted to achieve every single day or consistent, then make sure that consistency should supposed to be higher. So if you want it to be consistent, you have to be make sure that your intensity should supposed to be lower. At that time I didn't really know that. At that time I thought that ki I should supposed to be put all my intensity. So I was putting all my effort. Like that brain training application, I'm spending almost like a 3 hour on those brain training application. I feel really good. I feel that ki, yeah, I'm really good. I did it for almost like a month, but then after that I just can't, because my rest of the time is kind of like a like basically is this thing. I do my other thing, content creation, and another thing, which is kind of like hampered a lot. So it's not really possible for me to kind of like spend almost like a 3 hour on brain training application. And I thought that ki no, it's not really good. So I stopped that thing. I stopped that thing for almost like a 2 months. I didn't really touch it. Like basically December and January. December 2025, January 2026. I didn't really touch those applications. Nothing really at all, because it was kind of like so much exhausted and things and that. But when the February start, I decided that let's use this application. And in this time, I would not going to use as a kind of like simply so much amount of effort and things. I just spend just 5 minutes. That's it. Just a minimum kind of like some exercise that they offer. I'm just doing it that, and that's it. I am kind of like spending almost like a 5 minute on each application, and because of I'm spending almost like a 5 minute on each application, which kind of like almost like a 20 to 25 minute. Okay, yeah. Like basically before I was kind of like spending 3 hour. Right now I'm spending almost like a half an hour on all this application, and I feel really good. I achieve almost like a 30 days. Okay, yeah. In Duolingo, I have like a very long, like a basically this thing. Duolingo is a kind of like a thing that I'm doing, and I didn't skip that Duolingo, but rest of the application I skip it. Okay, yeah. So in the Duolingo, I have almost like a 225 days of streak, and Lumosity, Brilliant, and Elevate. On those application, I have till date, still now, it's been almost like a 29 days are complete, 30 days are complete. And I'm really proud that yes, I spent almost like basically this thing, in that particular time, I spent almost like a 3 hour on that application. Is because of that, yeah, I spent almost like a 8 to 9,000 rupees. because of I spent that much amount of money, I feel like that no, I have to be utilize that. It's a kind of like a thing that you buy something so much expensive, and you realize that no, I spend that much amount of money, then I have to be utilized. This is what it is. That's why I kind of like is only putting that much amount of intensity, but that's wrong. So till now I realized that I shouldn't supposed to buy subscription pack. Okay, yeah, whatever the kind of like assembly that minimum amount of kind of like exercise that they're offering, which is hard enough. So I just do it. I spend almost like a 5 minute on each application, which is really good. So this is also another thing that I understand. If you wanted to improve, or if you wanted to be consistent, or if you wanted to build any kind of like a habit, try not to put too much intensity. If you put too much intensity, it will not become habit. Yeah, it will not gonna become your habit. That is really essential thing. So if you wanted to build any kind of like a habit, or just try to be kind of like a very small step, which is kind of like a very much essential to like make sure that you shouldn't supposed to put that much amount of intensity. Understand the rule. Okay, yeah. Habit happen when you have consistency. Consistency happen when you have less intensity. Okay, yeah. So if you put less intensity, then consistency happen. Consistency means habit will gonna happen. But if you increase the intensity, then consistency will gonna happen less. So when the like it's kind of like an inverse proportion. Okay, yeah. Like a intensity increase, consistency decrease. Okay, and that will kind of like simply just break the everything. Get it? So yeah. So these are kind of like a habits. Okay. Regarding about book, this is also kind of like a habit. But still is this thing, I'm kind of like reading a book for almost like last 2 months. It adds so much amount of value, but still is this thing that hey, I am not reached in that particular state where I could tell you something regarding about that. Content creation is also kind of like a thing. Well, content creation is not a habit, it's a kind of like a job. Okay, yeah, like if you are kind of like decided that you are a content creator, then it's a kind of like simply a job, and you have to execute this thing as a job. Means you have to spend almost like a 5 to 6 hour on that thing, and that is true. Okay, yeah, because content creation is, it will become a habit too. Okay, but you have to be spent in this particular section, you have to put the intensity. Okay, yeah, and intensity with consistency, because in this particular process you might gonna earn money too. Okay, yeah, brain training application will not kind of like make you earn money. It will kind of like simply improve your brain and things and that, but it will not gonna directly earn money. Okay, but content creation does. So whatever the kind of like simply money that you will gonna earn, you have to put the intensity. Okay, yeah, but sometime now I kind of like accept this statement, sometime I don't. I'm not really sure, because it's a kind of like a different from every possible person and their content creation process and things and that. Okay, so yeah. Okay, now these are kind of like a steps. Okay, yeah. Now this is a part 2 that I already mentioned, part 1 that I already mentioned. Part 1 I kind of like a masturbate, part 2 I kind of like a talk about this and that. No, basically in the part 2 you kind of like understand that key I am kind of like a talk about the habits and things and that. But the problem is that dude, key you masturbate. Huh? Okay, yeah. Like you are kind of like saying this thing, all those good stuff, but in other end you masturbate. So how should you supposed to be? How should I supposed to be kind of like a simply listen your stuff? Like your action is completely opposite of your words, right? So basically is this thing na ki I already mentioned regarding about the masturbation, but still I again mention is this thing that ki it's just my opinion that ki masturbation is not a disease. It's not a kind of like a thing that you should supposed to be eliminate that. And basically is this thing, I'm not really sure, when I try to eliminate anything, it kind of like a create even more urges and things and that. I don't know, probably I might be a kind of like 100% wrong in this particular statement, but one thing I realized that ki masturbation is not a disease, is not a kind of like a thing that I should supposed to remove and things like that. If you do it too much, obviously it's a problem. If you do it too less, that is a kind of like a solution. I make sure that I should supposed to be kind of like a simply have a little bit of gaps, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days of gap. I achieve that gaps, and I am kind of like a simply like feel really good. Okay, yeah, it's not really that I'm kind of like a simply my purpose to kind of like quit the masturbation. It's a kind of like a thing that try to minimize it, and that is a kind of like a goal that I wanted to achieve. Might be you agree, might be you not. I'm not really sure, but this is what I think. Probably I might be completely wrong. Okay, yeah. But still, this is what it is, dude. I think that na ki the entire internet is kind of like somebody creating a statement that masturbation is wrong. You shouldn't supposed to be do that thing, that and that and that and that. They kind of like show a lot of the evidence and things and that. Maybe they are true. Okay, yeah. But from my point of perspective, I just kind of like a thing just if you just minimize it and things like it's a kind of like a alcohol. Okay, yeah. Like everyone say alcohol consumption is very wrong. But I am not the kind of like a particular person who says that thing. I think that na ki alcohol is a good. Like from my point of perspective, is this thing, it creates the moment. Like basically is this thing, when we drink alcohol, all my friends are drink alcohol, it creates the moment. That moment remember for a very long period of time. I still remember the first time we drank alcohol. I still remember every time we drink the alcohol. It's kind of like a very amazing moment I create that I might not forget. Okay, yeah. It's just like that. Na, ki I make sure that ki I would not gonna drink every single day or every single week or every single month. I would only drink when everyone all are gathered and we would supposed to be drink. Yeah. So this same thing with the masturbation, na. It's a kind of like a thing that na how should you supposed to be control. Okay, yeah. You shouldn't supposed to quit that you will not gonna get any kind of like a some fun from it. So basically is this thing you have to get the fun, but too much fun is very not so good. So make sure you will get too less fun. Okay, yeah. Like if you want to drink alcohol, drink it occasionally. It's good. Okay, yeah, but don't do it too much. Same thing with the masturbation. If you wanted to do it, just maintain your streak. Make sure that you will kind of like not cross less than 2 days. Okay, yeah. You should supposed to maintain the 5 days of gap. If you maintain that, you are allowed to do masturbation probably. But still, is this thing masturbation is a kind of like a medical terminology. I am not a doctor. I am not any kind of like a somebody the healthcare advisor. I am not any kind of like a stuff. Obviously, you shouldn't supposed to be listen to me. Nothing really at all. It's up to you. It's your life. Okay, yeah. Probably is this thing that na ki I don't know. I might be right. I might be wrong. But I don't want to kind of like take my advice. Okay, yeah. If you want to quit it. Yeah. There are so many kind of like a good advantage would be there. But, yeah. Alright. So this is it. This is all my kind of like a smallest version of habit that can I realistically commit and doing every single day. Alright. This is it. Thank you.